Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about why you must use no contact with an avoidant ex.
This is super important. And before we get into it, I did want to say that Craig and I are available for coaching sessions. So if you would like to talk about your situation one-on-one with one of us, you can do so by going to the website and booking from there.
Absolutely. You know, many of you come to the channel and discover that your partner has an avoidant attachment style, and that probably is scary and overwhelming. You're probably seeing a lot of comments online about avoidance and they don't come back, and a lot of negativity and hostility towards avoidance. Now, we know that it can be scary because avoidants do take longer to come back very often. Not always, but you probably are hearing so much negativity that they don't come back, they don't care, they never cared about you, and that's simply not true, okay? Yes, avoidants do have a higher need for independence. That is because the home they were raised in really had an impact in their ability to trust other people. And that early childhood really taught them a lot about love and traumatized them in many ways. So now, when they get into a romantic relationship, they get very scared in trusting people. So if they end the relationship with you, you really want to stop reaching out, okay? No contact, or no reach out as we teach, allows them to start to process on their own, to question things on their own, and to rethink everything, including whether or not it was a mistake to end the relationship. But it's only going to happen if you stop reaching out. This is absolutely important to understand. I know every fiber of your being wants to reach out. Just trust the process.
Right. And by you not reaching out, you are in essence reversing the roles of the relationship a bit. So in the book Attached, in the beginning, they start to talk about how in these anxious avoidant relationships, the avoidant can act out any of their anxious tendencies vicariously through the anxious partner. So a lot of times the anxious partner is the one that carries the glue of the relationship. They're the ones that do more of the emotional labor. When will I see you again? Oh, I'm so excited and so in love. You know, they're the ones who are the ones to keep that connection and to keep fighting for the relationship. And so when you don't reach out, when you start implementing no contact, you are saying, I'm cutting that part of me off. I'm not going to continue to try to keep this relationship together. You've called it off, and this is part of it. So because the dynamic of the relationship probably has been that way, where you are more of the pursuer and they are more of the distancer for the majority of the relationship, that's what they're expecting. They're expecting you to continue to chase, if not chase more after a breakup. So when you start implementing no contact, not reaching out to them, you are saying, whoa, this is not what you expected. And this challenges their thinking. This challenges their idea of you, and that's what you want. And that's why it's so important to do no contact, especially with those who are more avoidant. Is because you start to flip the dynamic, you start to change their view of you and what they typically expect out of you.
Absolutely. And also, a huge component of that is the alarm system that is being triggered in them. Human beings like to feel close to their loved ones. When no contact goes on, the longer it goes on, the more distant they feel from you. And so that anxiety, that separation anxiety, is going to make them want to reach out to you to repair the connection, because they are now feeling like the space is too wide for them. They want to fill that space and reconnect with you.
Right. And the more avoidant someone is, the more time that it will take for that alarm system to go off, right? We all have different levels of reactivity in our alarm system. For those who are anxious, the alarm has been going off the entire relationship. For those of us who are more avoidant,
you've been in the bathroom for 7 minutes. What are you doing in there?
The alarm system is off. For those of us who are more avoidant, we almost have this delayed reaction. You know, it's like something happens 10 years later. Oh, I just noticed that this happened. So avoidants tend to have a more delayed reaction, and that's part of it. That's why no contact is so important, because when we try to reach out before they've even processed the breakup, That can cause a lot of different reactions from them.
Yep.
So keep that in mind. So we talked about challenging their thinking about how you might react after the breakup.
Mm-hmm.
We also want to talk about guilt here, because that is an emotion that avoidants do feel. They do feel guilt for ending the relationship. They know cognitively, on a cognitive level, that they've hurt you by ending it. So they might not feel it emotionally. They might not be able to empathize with your sadness and be there for you in the ways that you might want them to, but they know mentally. And what do they do when they are faced with negative emotions or difficult emotions? They tend to shut down. They avoid. That is the marker of an avoidant, is the avoidance. And so they tend to distance, they shut down even more when they're feeling guilty. So you reaching out can start to elicit those feelings of guilt because it's a reminder of the breakup. They are going to try to distract themselves and dive into anything and everything that they possibly can after a breakup. So if you're giving them that space to do so, they're not going to have that feeling of guilt and feel that need to push you away even more. When you reach out, regardless of how, it reminds them of the breakup. So keep that in mind.
And it's like all those new, fresh interactions to take away their anxiety and fear of losing you. Every time you make a bid to connect with them, they're no longer afraid of losing you again. Because it's like, let's say you've gone 3 months of not reaching out. All of a sudden, one day you crack, you snap, and you reach out to them. Guess what? Now they've learned, oh, after all this time, you still want me. I don't have to worry about losing you anymore. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to put yourself in that position where they know that they still have you.
Right. And it's giving them that illusion that they don't have to work for your closeness, or they have no responsibility to try to repair things. You want to send them the message that if you do want to get back together, you have to want it. You have to be able to tell me that you want to talk to me, that you want to see me. You have to make some effort here. So when we do and continue to do that emotional labor for them, even after the breakup, we are just reinforcing some of those bad habits from the relationship. So avoidants also have responsibility to work on their own security after a breakup. We know that sometimes that happens, sometimes that doesn't, but we want healthy relationships for you.
Ideally, yes.
Right. So when they are able to process that breakup a little bit more, their perspective begins to soften. In the beginning, they might have that sense of, oh, this is a big decision. This is going to be really difficult to tell my partner. They might expect you to act in a certain way. But with time, and they see that you are respecting what they've been able to tell you, their perspective softens. They're not as angry. They're not as needing to draw a line in the sand.
Right. They get cold and they put the wall up fast because you're pressuring, and they don't want to have those difficult discussions in that moment. So the more you pressure, the more the wall goes up and the longer it takes for it to slowly come down.
Right. We also say that no contact is a must for people who have more avoidant exes because it's also protective of you. And we say this just because of how many breakups we've seen and how we've seen those with more avoidant attachment styles react. People tend to escalate their behavior when they're being pushed and when they feel like they have to. And so if you continue to reach out, especially avoidants, because they're very logical, they're very practical minded, they might respond with harsher and harsher statements, such as, why are you talking to me? What is the purpose of this? What does this do? I thought we broke up.
They get colder and meaner.
And so this is why we say this also to protect you. The more you reach out, the more you might be setting yourself up for rejection, and that's not what we want for you. You might hear avoidants say things like, I don't see a future with you, be a lot more clear about their desire for the breakup. We're never getting back together. Don't talk to me. This isn't happening. There's no point. And so in order to protect your heart and to protect yourself from hearing some of these things that might come out when an avoidant is pressed, we think no contact is the best option.
And you'll see that if you don't put a lot of pressure on them at the time of the breakup, they won't be so harsh with you. It won't feel as abrasive or cruel or cold, and the interactions may seem a little bit more friendly. It's like when they just feel like they're kind of getting backed into a corner, that they feel like they got to protect themselves more.
Right. And for some of you who have already reached out, maybe in the beginning they were a bit receptive. Maybe they would entertain some of your messages here and there. But you will find as you continue to push, most of the time, they will start to distance more. So that can affect you. If you reach out, put your heart on the table, and you get no response, think about how that might impact your mental health as you go through this breakup.
Yeah, it's only going to take them longer to process, longer for them to forget about those feelings of being trapped and smothered, longer for them to miss you. And so you're only delaying the process and making it less likely that they feel like it can turn around the more you pressure them. And some of you guys really pressure them, showing up at their house, bombarding them, contacting their friends and family, showing up at places they're going to be. All of those things just make it harder to turn around, right? So the quicker you can stop reaching out, the sooner they're going to be able to process the breakup and miss you.
Right. And some of you do start to act out of character after a breakup.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you have to think about your own behaviors and if you are okay with them. I know many of us feel like we can't help but stalk our ex on social media or drive past their house or their work, especially if they're close, if they're down the street. Oh, it's so tempting. Or we're going to take the long way back from work just to stop by their house. So you have to be okay with your own decisions and behaviors after a breakup. And this is why we always go back to this, is thinking about being intentional, right? For you and for them, for your own mental health, and also if you're trying to repair this.
Yep. It's a lot to think about, but it's confusing. It's scary. We know, but we're just telling you to give you a heads up and make an informed decision for yourself. You guys can choose how you navigate your own breakup, but we're trying to warn you so you don't make a lot of the mistakes that we see a lot of people make.
Right. And an approach for an ex who maybe has a more anxious attachment style is a little bit different from one who is more avoidant.
Yeah.
So this is something that we talk about and deal with often. This is also something that you can come and talk to us about if you have specific questions about your situation.
Absolutely. Hopefully this one's been helpful to you. And of course, you can get our help on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you're ready to chat.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.